And we're going to get going. We're very excited about today's conversation. We have two fantastic expert presenters who will introduce themselves in just a second. Let me share my screen. Hey, Brand, it's good to see you here. All right. All right. So actually, I'm so sorry. I keep going in and out, but I just need to make sure that we're recording. Got it. Okay, so thank you all for being here. We're going to go ahead and get started. It is 5:01. Today's presentation, as you can see, is transitioning from elementary school to middle school. And so what I'd like to do is just, first of all, give you a big shout out for spending some time with us today. We know that you're busy, so thank you for spending just an hour with us so that you can see how to effectively guide your child from their elementary years into their middle school. It's a big change for kids. For parents who have had older kids, you maybe have seen that, you maybe have navigated it, but now we have two expert presenters who are going to give you some really good tips on this. I'd like to also just remind you that this is going to be recorded, so if you need to leave, feel free to leave. The session will be on our Alvord Schools YouTube and website. If you need this information in different languages, we have Ms. Patti Arvide, who is interpreting into Spanish. Si necesitan la información en español, puede cambiar el idioma from English to español en las herramientas de Zoom. If you need this information in Arabic, we have Ms. Bayana. Ms. Bayana, thank you for being here. So on the bottom portion of your screen, you should see an option that says interpretation on your Zoom tools. You can change the language from English to Spanish. If you need this information in Arabic, Zoom doesn't have Arabic as an option, so we've just chosen Russian arbitrarily, and Ms. Bayana is on that channel to make sure that you get the information that you need and the language that you needed. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Roz and Mrs. Barza to start our meeting.
Good evening, families. Thank you for coming. So this presentation is for students that are transitioning from elementary to middle school. So we have 4 middle schools in our district: Arizona Middle School, Loma Vista Middle, Villegas Middle, and Wells Middle School. So we're all in this together. You are going to come across a lot of the same people that you've had at elementary. You will have the same people at middle school. So you have your principals, assistant principals, counselors. There's going to be up to 2 counselors at most of the middle schools. I believe Loma is going to have 3 counselors.
And Wells has got 2.5. There's one there that's part-time, so I still count that as 3.
Okay, teachers, case carriers, no, those are the people that are in charge of special ed department, and they're the ones that write the IEPs. Campus supervisors, parents, we don't want you to disappear. I know in elementary school, there's a lot of opportunities for parents to be on campus, and there will be some opportunities for parents to be on campus as well in middle school. So don't leave your students, okay? There's OCI is on-campus intervention. That is something new in middle schools. It's new to elementary students, but we've had OCI for a while. OCI is kind of like a timeout room. When students are not being scholarly students, they are sent to OCI. We also have school psychologists and speech therapists. Does anybody have any questions so far?
If you do have questions, Alejandro is observing the chat, so he'll let us know that if there's anybody, if you have any questions, you can type it right into chat, and he'll flag us down and pull up that question so we can be focused on what we're saying. But we want to hear if you do have questions or comments or concerns, please feel free to chime in right on that chat there, and we'll bring those up.
Okay, so the transition to middle school, it is absolutely normal for your child to be nervous about starting middle school. It's also perfectly normal for you to be nervous about your child's transition to middle school. There is a quote from 2004. I can't read the person who did it because, okay, Brown, 2004. So the transition to middle school may be one of the toughest transitions during childhood for both parents and kids. So there's plenty of differences. So there's going to be different classes, language arts, history, math, science, PE, and there will be an elective. Your student is going to have about 3 to 4 teachers. PE is going to be every single day, and your student will be expected to dress out every single day, and there will be lockers. I would say about the first week or two, the students are really skittish about dressing out. But I have always told them, just be respectful of everybody. You change in front of your locker and just undress, put your PE clothes on and, try not to stare, look around, and just make sure you are kind and very respectful and no body shaming anybody. And you wouldn't want them to do that to you.
That is
everything will be fine. Go ahead, Mr. Ross.
No, sorry. That is one of the probably biggest concerns that when I do my lessons with the students here, I always do a lesson after they visit the middle school to see if they have any other questions and give them more information that they might have missed because they were just in awe of the middle school and just, the biggest thing they're always worried about is changing in the locker rooms. And I've gotten this from middle school students that they've said, everybody else is worried about the same thing. And because everybody else is worried about the same thing, no one else is paying attention to anybody else. Their concern is get in, get changed, and get out. And so if we kind of pass that along to the students that are going up and like Mrs. Sparza said, just be respectful, do what you need to do and move on. After a couple of weeks, it's not going to be a thing. And I've had middle school kids come back and tell me, yeah, it's not a big deal after a while, but that is one of the biggest things. And then being able to get into the lockers, and I practice that. So if you have a student, ask them if they've practiced that. A lot of the elementary counselors do that, but if not, just go buy a cheapy lock at the dollar store or Lowe's. You don't have to be super expensive, a spin combination lock, and practice that at home over the summer. And that will take some of their nervousness and fear about getting in and out of the locker quickly away because they'll be practiced.
The middle schools will also give you time for students to practice as well. You guys don't start dressing out right away. They work on locker room expectations and practicing how to open and close a locker. So there's going to be more time. Okay, so moving on, GPA. GPA and promotion. So grade level expectations are to have a 2.0 and no Fs in your core classes. And those core classes are ELA, history, math, and science. On-campus intervention, lunch, and after-school detentions is normally when they occur. So if your student happens to get into some kind of trouble, then their consequence might be a lunch or after-school detention.
Mrs. Barza and Mr. Roz,
Yes.
I want to highlight here the different classes. You mentioned electives. Mrs. Barza, would you be able to tell us what are some of the electives that students can choose from when they start their middle school career?
Okay, so for 6th grade, there's drama, there's choir, there's maybe a Google class, art. And
I know I got the Wells sheet right in front of me.
Yeah.
So I've got for Wells, because that's where my foothill goes to Wells.
Okay.
I've got beginning band, choir and dance, and career exploration class. So those are the 4 choices they have as entering 6th graders.
Yeah, and then as they go through their 6th to 7th and 8th grade career, I know that at Villegas, there's the FCCLA,
yes, they have cooking.
Yeah,
at
cooking.
Villegas, and then they have ASB.
Yep.
And they have a leadership class at Arizona with Mr. Cooper. So that's a lot of planning events that are on campus, like the Friday Fun Days or the dances or whatever we're celebrating. If there's a week celebration, then they help to do that. And also Mr. Cooper's class puts on a weekly news segment for them.
Wonderful. Yeah, and there's so much to choose from,
Mhm.
parents. So it's just about making it so that your child knows what the different options are. They could choose what the different options are because it is, I mean, as the word implies, it's an elective. So just work with your counselors, so that we can get them in the class. It's going to just get them really excited about their middle school trajectory. That then could lead into a pathway, maybe a CTE pathway down the line when they are in high school. Thank you for addressing that question. All right.
Yep. And by now, I know Wells has already sent theirs out and got theirs back. I
Beautiful.
think,
Still have the other middle schools, yes.
okay, so everybody should have seen that at home. If you haven't seen it, come across. Usually it has to get signed by a parent.
Mm.
So if you haven't seen it come across, ask your student about that because you definitely want to get those in before the end of the school year because as the counselors from the middle schools tell us, if you wait until the last minute, you might not get your first, second, or third choice. You might get stuck with whatever fits into your schedule. So they want to get those in. So if you haven't seen them, talk to your student about that. And if they'll, I don't know, I don't have it, call the school and get another sheet.
Mhm. Well, here are some things that your child might be worried about. So, getting lost or finding classes, finding and opening the locker, finding the bathroom, not knowing the school rules, carrying around all the books, going from class to class without being late, bringing the right materials to the right class at the right time, and traveling longer distances to school. There's going to be plenty of time to work out all of these kinks here. The schools will go over the school rules in the classroom, and then they'll also probably have the administrators will go over campus rules also for the students. Books, usually you get your books and you just leave them at home. There's a class set in the classroom, and so you don't need to have to bring those books in your backpack every single day. You will have to bring your computer, your notebooks, your pencil pouches, and you'll be filling up your backpack that way.
And I always remind the students to not bring anything you don't need because there is not a desk that they can put their backpack on for the whole day or a hook like in middle or in elementary school. It's like you're in the classroom and your backpack stays there.
Mhm.
So you don't want to be carrying around excess baggage because it's got to go with you all day. So the minimum that you need, that's what you bring. Every once in a while, you might need to add a couple extra things. You have a project or something going on, but you don't need to have those giant backpacks that you go on the multiple day hikes into the mountains where you got to pack in all your food and supplies. Nah, the smaller to make sure they fit, as long as they're big enough for binders, the width and the height, that's going to help them stay more organized. And I'll talk more about organization in a little bit as well.
They are not allowed to bring glass bottles. I know the girls and the boys, they like to bring the perfumes after PE, they like to spray themselves, but those are usually in glass bottles. They are not allowed to have those on campus. They will be confiscated. And it could be dangerous. So if the glass breaks, somebody could step on it. So it's very, very dangerous. So just remember that, no glass bottles. Okay, so procedural concerns, what can parents do? Like Mr. Ross said earlier, buy a combination lock and practice before school begins. Attend parent orientation day. I know that Vegas and Arizona have already had one. Become familiar with the activities, the schedules, rules, and the guidelines. View the school website and a student planner if you were given one. Don't buy backpacks that can store 50 pounds of materials. Smaller backpacks are allowed for better organization, but make sure that they are sturdy and durable. A lot of the thinner backpacks, usually they rip. Some backpacks tend to get pretty heavy, so you do want them durable.
And if I can just maybe put in a plug, tomorrow at Terrace Elementary School, we are having a health and safety fair, and we're going to be giving out some really nice backpacks. So parents, if you'd like a free backpack, come on by tomorrow at Terrace from 3 to 5, this big fair that we're doing. There's going to be free backpacks and books and free dental work for all students, and fluoride cleanings and tacos and tikis and all sorts of stuff. So you might have seen it already, but just a plug in there for
That
tomorrow.
sounds like a great event.
It's gonna be great.
Mr. Oz, you want to go over and read the
Sure, I'll take
academic
academic concerns. So the most important thing about coming to school, obviously, is the learning and the getting the grades. But as a counselors, we also know that the socialization and the interaction with other peers is important as well. But we want our students to get good grades. They're going to have more than one teacher, and so it's going to be a little bit different about their organization. And I speak on this to the students as far as that daily planner. A few slides down, we're going to show you about Aries and how parents can check in on Aries. Students can as well. Their projects and their homework might be longer term. They're going to get homework from possibly every single teacher they have except PE. I don't really remember ever getting PE homework. So they could possibly have 5 classes of homework in one night. Now, I know the teachers aren't mean. They don't try and organize and say, let's all give them the big project due on the same day at the same week. Will that happen from time to time? Yes.
Yes.
Because they can't, always organize that well. So it's very important for the 6th graders to know that they got to be a little bit more organized. It's not just one classroom's worth of homework. I was like, 20 minutes of reading and maybe a couple of homework sheets. It's going to be stuff from each class, and keeping track of that is what I think trips people up the most. For organization, that I've told the students, and this is where you can come in and help a little bit as well, parents, I suggest that they get a folder and a spiral notebook for each class and color code it. I still remember the color codes that I had when I was a middle school and high school. I had yellow for social studies, I had green for science, I had blue for math, and red for English. And so whenever I went and grabbed my stuff, now we had lockers because I'm from the Midwest, so we had an enclosed school, so we actually had lockers, but I didn't have a lot of time to be digging through my lockers, and we don't want the students digging through their backpacks. So just look in, red, I'm in that class, boom, and make sure they have it. That's one way they can be organized more, and to make sure their time is used more efficiently as well. The expectations of teachers are going to be different in each class. So whereas now they have to worry about one teacher and how to get along with that classroom set of rules, or how that teacher behaves or acts or even expects them to behave and act, it's going to be a lot different. So they're going to have to get used to different personalities throughout the day. And the basic tasks that we do here in elementary school, the studying, taking notes, and taking tests, is going to get a little bit more intense, and at times a lot more intense, because the tests are going to be, you're going to have to really study for them. And some of the students that might find elementary school really easy might begin to struggle a little bit because the expectations are going to increase. So that's the academic concerns for the students. And I think the next one is how you can help out. So the best way is to show the importance of education. And one of those things is making sure your students get to school on time, because that first
He's muted.
class. I'm muted? No, I'm muted. You guys can all hear me still?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. If you miss the first class every day, that's the only class you're going to miss, hopefully, because you're there, but that's going to be a big chunk of time. And that teacher's not going to go back and find that student that missed or showed up late and go, hey, did you remember? Don't forget, because they've got 150 students throughout the day they're worried about. So it's going to fall on your students. So one of the things, show the importance of education, getting a good night's rest, getting good meals. They can eat at school in the morning time. So if they get there early and you don't have breakfast at home, or just don't have anything prepared in the morning time, they can eat at school for breakfast and lunch, right? And if they're in our after school program, they get a little bit of food after school as well. So having those two things as importance and showing it to them is going to help. Setting aside some space and time at home for study time. And I know it's hard if you've got a large family in a small space, but as your students get older, they're going to need a little bit more time and a little bit more space to spread their stuff out. So even if you have students still in elementary school, maybe you got some in high school spread out, organize it as okay, this is the homework time. Everybody's turning all the electronics off. And unfortunately, moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas, you got to do the same thing too, because then it shows them again the importance. I'm turning my stuff off so you can learn, you can have your work time. But if you're working from home or you need to do things, they're going to see, oh, mom, dad needs quiet time. They need quiet times too. Don't try and load them down with a lot of extracurricular things. Balance that. Schoolwork, activities, leisure time. They don't have to do everything under the sun, because then it'll make each one of those activities less than. They're not going to be able to do their best at each activity. Have them, if they're interested in sports after school, do that. If they want to do extracurricular things in the community, do that. But make sure you're balancing all that stuff. Don't have it heavy on one side and light on the other. And then, like I said, we're going to talk about the Aries portal here in a minute. But also make sure you are talking with your students and setting the expectations. This is what I expect of you guys at school. And this is what I expect of you guys at home. And do it in a quiet moment. Maybe set up some planners or guides, or I don't want to call them behavior charts, but like schedules, a before school and after school schedule, and have them help you create it. Because if you just show it to them and you create it, it's like, oh, I got to do what my mom said. I got to do what my dad said. They're going to have less buy-in. But if you sit down and work with them on that, they're going to be more likely to say, hey, I had a part in that. I'm going to agree with that. And it can be revisited later on. If it doesn't seem to be working, you don't have to force it, but give it a month or so, maybe 2. And if it's not working, revisit it and let them know this can be revisited, but not every day, not every week, because then that gets tedious. But if it's not working, change it. And then, of course, the most important thing, encouragement, because when they know that you are behind them and they have your support, they are going to want to make you proud of them. And they are going to, do their best at school and with their work, either behavior, academic, socially, all that stuff. All right. Speaking of social emotional concerns, we have some of the fears and worries we talked about already about students. So these are the social emotional concerns that they're worried about: bullies and being teased, making new friends, finding connections, making new peers, how popular they are. They're going to be going through puberty if they haven't already started at this point. Some of the girls, they start usually puberty a little bit earlier than the boys. So they'll catch up. The boys will catch up after a little while. We talked about the changing before and after PE, and then pressure to do things they don't want to do. So I wish I could say that in middle school, bullying and teasing goes away because everybody gets really mature and they just know that that's not the right thing to do. Unfortunately, I can't say that. There's bullies. We all know adults that are bullies. But what we need to do is we need to support our students and teach them how to be assertive, which means speaking up for themselves, telling the other people that they don't like it. And if they can't get it to stop themselves, not to fight out, not to lash out at the other people, but to speak out and ask for help. That's what the middle school counselors are there for. That's what the principals are there for, right? So we're always there to support them if they're having a hard time. And like we say in elementary school, if we don't know something is going on, we can't help. And I'm sure Mrs. Barzo would say the same thing. If we don't know, we can't do anything about it. And that goes for parents too. If you hear their students, your kids saying things and you don't think they've told anybody at school, please let us know, because we need to know, because we can't help if we don't know. Making new friends. We tell the kids that you're going to have friends that you're going to still have from kindergarten all the way through high school. That's great. That's awesome. But now the likes and dislikes are changing. And so friends may come and friends may go. And we try to teach them that that's okay. And so if you teach them that that's okay too, oh, my friend from kindergarten, she doesn't like me anymore. She doesn't talk to me, or he's being mean to me, or he just doesn't talk to me anymore. It doesn't even have to be mean. We have to support the fact that that's okay. That's okay. And if they're finding that other people that they want to be friends with are not reciprocating that, we want to support them and saying, okay, well, maybe it's time to decide, do we want to keep going down this path? Or do we want to use our limited amount of energy to find new friends? Okay. Popularity is a hard one because everybody wants to be popular. I was not popular in elementary school or middle school and high school, but I kind of hung out with all the crowds. I hung out with the sports kids, the drama kids, the science kids, the nerdy kids, the smart kids. I hung out with everybody, so that's maybe why I wasn't popular. But I kind of was popular in a way because I got along with everybody. And that's...
I like to encourage students to make friends.
Yeah.
Lots of friends. Make friends in every single classroom. Even if it's just a friend that's helping in language arts. Okay, this, Sally next to me, she sits next to me every single day and she looks like a good friend choice and she's studious. I'm going to make a chance to get to know her better. So you might not have lunch with her, but you're at least cordial with her in class. Do that. Encourage your children to do that for every single class, just to have lots of friends.
Yeah, because you don't know when that one person that you're just cordial with today might become your bestie tomorrow, right? Yeah. And it's better to have many friends that can help you and support you in different ways, in different avenues, and different aspects of your life.
Yes.
It's always best. So we try to support that as well. Let's see, what else? We talked about the changing. Oh, I always go with the last one, the pressure to do things they don't want to do. That's another one of those areas that I try to stress, that if they have friends that are trying to make them do things they don't want to do, we have to then really think about, are those the kind of people that I want to hang out with? And if not, and if they're pressuring them and they can't find a way out of that pressure, to talk to parents, let them know. And if they are not comfortable doing that, to talk to somebody at school. So parents, don't get upset or distraught if your children all of a sudden start not wanting to talk to you. It's a natural process. If this is your first kiddo that's getting to this age, they're going to get to that point where they don't want to talk to you. But hopefully, if you keep that open communication and you ask them questions that are hopefully not yes and no questions, open-ended questions, like, hey, tell me something great about school today. That's not a yes and no question. They have to think about it. Or what was one thing you didn't like about school today? That's okay too, right? The more we communicate with them and ask them and are open to hear without judgment or without, showing that, oh, maybe that wasn't the best thing I wanted to hear, they're going to be more likely to come to you when they do have those problems with people pressuring them, and they will seek out your guidance and your help. And if not, that's okay. If they go to an auntie that they feel more comfortable with, or grandpa, as long as they're talking to someone to get that, wisdom of guidance of ages that can see past their bigger world now, a little bit bigger world, but to make sure that we show them the consequences of actions that may be things that they don't want to do, positive and negative, that we can help them over that hurdle. Okay. I kind of already went into this slide, but I use slides as a guidepost, and I just talk. So if you have a positive outlook about middle school, if this is their first student that's going into middle school and you're positive and you're like, this is going to be great, it's going to rub off on them. If you're apprehensive and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know, then they're going to take that on. They're going to kind of associate that. If they have fears, don't push the fears away, or don't, what's the word I'm looking for? Trivialize. Don't make it like, oh, it's not a problem, don't worry about it. No, to them, it's a problem. For us, we've been through it. It's not a problem. We know it's not going to be a problem most of the time, but they don't have that. So recognize their fears, offer the support, but also make sure, like we said earlier, you're going to have those expectations. And so if the expectations are not being met, you have to hold them accountable, hold them responsible for their own actions. Because at this point in life, we need to start to have them becoming more responsible adults so that when they get to high school and beyond, you know that, okay, I'm good. They're going to be responsible. They're safe, as much as we can hope as parents to keep our children safe, but I got them going down the right path. Now it's up to them. Don't make all the decisions for them. Talk to them about that. Well, what do you think? What could be a good outcome? What could be a bad outcome? They're going to have to start making their own decisions and, you know, taking responsibility for those actions, because sometimes we learn more from our mistakes than if someone else does it for us or keeps us out of, you know, making those bad choices. Now, if it's obviously a harmful choice, let's step in. But if it's something we're like, oh, you know, maybe it's a friend thing. Yeah, I'm going to keep hanging out with this friend, even if they're mean to me. Okay, that's your choice. And let them see what happens. Talk to them about it. Show them maybe some things that could or could not happen, the different outcomes, but let them find out. Pick your own battles. So some things that you can kind of let go maybe are maybe not as important as other topics. And I can't really give an example specific to you all because your household is different and everybody's priorities are different. So just keep that in mind. Just kind of weigh what it is. Do I want to make my final stand here? Or do I want to say, okay, I can let this one go a little bit, I'm still being responsible for themselves, but is this where I want to have my final stand? And if we're doing that, giving them the chance to make mistakes, but having that open communication, they're going to get better and they're going to be more prepared for later on down in the life. The last thing on this slide is be knowledgeable about technology. I am really bad with technology. I don't know a lot about technology. I can barely use my iPhone. The kids are great. And they know how to get through things. YouTube is awesome for this. How do you track things on the phone? How do you know what they're using? How do you know different apps that are the good things or the bad things? There's a whole bunch of apps out there for parental guidance. Like, oh, mom, I want to see this movie or I want to play this game. They have parental ratings and they tell you all about it. Get onto those things and look those up because it's going to be more and more important as technology advances, and it advances quickly, that we keep up as adults. The kids they're naturally born into it, but hopefully we don't let them get sucked into it, because now that we've had this technology for quite a while, studies are coming out to show that the screen time is actually having adverse effects on our students' actual physical brains, not just their sleep, which it does, not just their peer interactions, which it does, but their physical brains, that they can actually get addiction-like responses for when you take the things away, or they don't get the technology. And that's for the little kids, but middle school kids too. You've probably seen the videos of the kid, you know, he gets his phone taken away, or the parent says, yep, video time is over, and they just have a meltdown, and you're like, whoa, is someone murdering this child? No, they just got told they couldn't play the video game. That is a addictive response for that technology.
And don't be afraid to take away your child's phone. They might have their phone all day at school because a parent wants to reach them, and that's fine, but they're not going to be able to have them on in class. They have them on maybe during passing period and at lunch. But with phones come a lot of responsibility for children and middle school children. If they're children, they're still learning, but a lot of them do what the others do. So they might be taking pictures or recording things that they should not do. Admin will definitely go over what they can and cannot do with their phones, but have those conversations too with your students about who they take pictures of or what they take videos of.
which at school should be no one.
It's, yeah, it should be no one. There's different Instagram pages that, kids create. Some of these pages aren't the best things that they should be putting on here. Kids, they make these accounts and then they have not so nice accounts. So that's very problematic in middle school. Just like I said, don't be afraid to take away your child's phone and to go through your child's phone. It's your phone. You are making the payment. Open up that phone. You should know what the password is. You should check every single app that they have. You should be able to check every single text message. It is your phone. Make that perfectly clear to your students.
Because if there's something that's done on that phone, the person they're going to come and talk to first is the person whose name is on the contract, not the person who's being loaned to. And so you're responsible for the use of that phone. Now, obviously, if the student is using it, your child's using it, they're using it improperly, but that could be another discussion for expectations and for limitations and even contracts that you create. And if you have ever been on Pinterest, you can go and find, cell phone contracts or technology contracts that people have made. And if you can't find any, contact me. I have some information on that I'd be more than happy to pass along, and just little simple contracts about what you expect them and what will happen if those expectations are not met. Okay. All right. So what you can do to be involved, like Mrs. Barza said earlier, don't disappear, parents. We want you still involved in your child's education. We need you involved in your child's education because it is a partnership with you, the students, and the school. So get to know your teachers. They will often have back to school nights where you can walk around the school, and usually they announce those during the summertime. So, and they will come out, I believe, Mr. Alejandro, on the parent square at this point now. So they might get like a email blast out. So pay attention to that. You can contact the schools, obviously, through the phones. Aries, log in for grades. So if you're asking your students, what are your grades? Oh, I got all A's. You can actually go check that. Hey, are you on time to every single class? Oh, yeah. You can check that too. So there's a slide we're going to show you about that as well. Online, there's a student planner or a student parent handbook for each school. You can look that up and go through that at your leisure, and even go over it with your student to make sure they understand what the expectations and the school rules are. So that way they're not saying, "Oh yeah, mom, I can wear a crop top T-shirt or these giantly holy jeans that don't really look like jeans anymore. They look like chaps that are reversed." Those are not allowed. So whether it's behavior, dress codes, attendance codes, all that stuff is online and in those books. Ask about homework. If you're not sure, if your student says, "Oh yeah, we haven't had homework," and you're like, "For the past 2 weeks," contact the school, contact the teacher. They will tell you. They're not going to make stuff up. And they'll let you know, "Yeah, we've had homework every day the last couple of weeks. I don't know why this is coming up." We have meetings that you can attend, PTA, get involved, the conferences, ELAC, SSC, that's School Site Council. Even if you're not an elected member, you can always attend. They love extra parents showing up and putting in their 2 cents, because if we don't know there's just something out there that you're looking for or you need, we won't go find it, but we want to know those things. So, and you can always ask the schools how you can volunteer. If you haven't signed up for Parent Square yet, it's a communication app. You can get school-wide messages. I would say do that, because after elementary school, Dojo might not be used by all teachers, but Parent Square is. And sometimes the teachers use Google Classroom. Some don't. Some put their things on Aries. So it's getting more towards those bigger systems that the teachers will be using.
Yeah.
Mm,
They mainly use Google Classroom a whole lot, not Dojo. They might use Remind, but you can, in your child's laptop, you should have them show you how to navigate Google Classroom. And there's going to be another slide where we tell you what apps to have on your phone. But you can also have the Google Classroom app, have your child sign in, and you can have that app running on your phone. And that way you can see what your child's doing. So have them on the laptop show you how to do it. Every single day it shows where there's an assignment due, or it shows where it's been turned in. It's one color if it hasn't been turned in. I think it's gray if it has been turned in. And then Aries is very important. You will see your teacher's email addresses, so you can always email the teachers. Don't wait for a parent conference in October if you feel your child's struggling early on. Email the teacher and they'll get back to you in 1 or 2 days.
And then make sure your child attends school daily. It's even more important now because, like I said, if you're going to have 5 different teachers, up to 4 different teachers, 6 different class periods, if they miss one day, they're missing 6 different things. And they might not get caught up as quickly. They are still responsible for any work that they have missed when they're absent, whether it's an approved absence, meaning you went to the doctor and got a medical note. Definitely, if you just go on vacation, that's 100% still needs to be done. So any work that is missed, they are still responsible for. And that can be looked at on those Aries apps by connecting on Google Classrooms, having your students call friends. Hey, what did I miss? What's the homework assignment? So that is very important as well. Can we flip to the next slide? Because this is a slide with the apps. So here are the apps. So we'll leave this on here for just a second. So if you're jotting anything down, the Aries is the district application or website, not really a website, but web function that has all that attendance, being able to contact teachers. Parent Square, that will get you all the messages from the district. Facebook, we don't have a lot in elementary school on the Facebook. We might have a school Facebook page, and I think most of the middle schools have a school Facebook page and a school Instagram where they'll post fun things. They'll post other informations, little bits of information. So at this point, when you're moving on to middle school, it's a little bit more important to get onto those applications.
Right. I know that some schools do have very active Instagram accounts, like for the ASBs or particular clubs. And but the official like messaging that you get from principals and the district administration is from Parent Square. So parents, please make sure that you know how to use Parent Square. If you don't know how to use Parent Square, you can reach out to my office, reach out to your child's school, and we can guide you through it. But yeah, as Mr. Ross said, Instagram is more for like engagement and fun announcements, things like that. But anything that's officially messaged on behalf of school or district administration on Parent Square.
Let's pause right here. So did anything come through on the chat? Have any questions?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
It's been
Well,
really engaging, and we haven't had no questions yet.
all right.
Well, let me go back to apps really quick. You
Yeah, go
should
ahead.
have some other apps on your phone and maybe on your student's phone. Gmail, the Google Classroom, the Google Meet, Google Slides, Google Drive. I've had, when my daughter was a 6th grader, there were a couple of times where she thought, oh, I didn't turn something in. And, she was going to be worried. She didn't have her laptop. Well, she had everything on her phone, and she just put she created a folder, and she had all these apps on her phone. And I loved having her Google Classroom on my phone. And I always had her signed in. I never turned it off. That way I could see, oh, what is she doing today myself? So this is actually a Google Classroom, but it has a lot of like an 8th grade. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's kind of blurry. Is it blurry?
You'd have to unblur your background probably for it to focus on it.
Well, it has all the teachers on there. You can see their assignments and whatnot. So I would download those apps, have your kids sign them up. Definitely you want the Aries app. You want to be able to see your students' grades every single day. You can click on the grade book, and the grade book will show every single assignment and will show what they are earning. So 100%, 90%, 60%. You can tell your child, okay, you're doing your homework. That's great. But when it comes to your tests and quizzes, you're earning a 40%. You are not prepared. You're not studied up. So this is going to hurt your grade. So it's really important to be able to have Aries and to check those grades.
Yeah. So now with all this great technology, it's great because we have more access to check in and make sure our students are doing what they say they're doing. And they say, oh yeah, I turned all my homework in. And it's like, you go on and it's like, well, look at all these missing assignments. What are you talking about? You turn it all in. Whereas when I was a kid, oh yeah, I turned it in. I can still have it in my backpack, or I just never turned it in, or I'm getting an A. And then all of a sudden at semester time, I bring my report card home. So you can check even before report card time as the progress of your students' grades. And then that will help you know where that balance needs to happen. Oh, need more study time, or fun time's got to go away a little bit because we're having too much fun time. We're not putting enough into the academics.
18, we have
Use that technology. It's great.
Yes.
question from Serna. Serna, would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So my son is going to go into middle school next year, and one issue that I have with him is helping him understand social media and what's good and what's not good. So I was wondering if the district has engaged or facilitated any media literacy classes for middle schoolers that is more heavily involved, not just like tips and tricks. It's like more of a course that they can engage in so that they can have those tools in advance and avoid getting into issues. So at least have more tools for them to use.
We do have social emotional lessons that teachers actually present in their classrooms monthly. And they do go over technology. And then counselors also present like a bullying presentation, and we do talk about social media.
And then, Serna, I think also to your question, you asked about classes for parents. That's not something that we currently have, but that is a fantastic idea that I think that we can explore to bring either something like this, our weekly webinar series on specifically that topic, or do you mean something more maybe like ongoing, maybe more engaging? What is it that you're really asking for? Because that's a fantastic idea.
I think the topic in itself lends for fun. I think these are good. The workshops, the webinars, the information sessions. Students, I picture more something like it's a mandatory class or a course online that they have to take with everything that has to do with media literacy. So that's kind of like what I'm picturing right now. I know they're still young and it might be a lot for them, but I'm just thinking like even if there's like an that they can do activities and gain points for that, but at the same time they're learning about how to engage safely with social media.
So I got cutting it out a little bit there, but I know we don't have anything that's an actual academic class in the elementary. We do teach it and we try to support it, but for elementary, when they're not even really supposed to have their phones out at all during the day, because there's really no need for anyone in elementary school to have a phone at school, because every classroom has a phone. And if there's an issue, we will call home. But I know that some of our students, the parents want them to have it maybe if they're after school or they're walking home, for that walk home to be safe, and which I understand 100%. So in elementary school, we don't have anything like that now. But that is definitely, because to make it a full class like you go into every single day, that would something we would have to look into.
Unfortunately, we don't have those classes at middle school either. We only have counselor lessons.
Yeah, but there might be something like that online, and it's something that I can make myself a note and to look up with, and something we
Yeah.
could blast out to everybody. It's like, hey, look at this. And even if it's a kind of a go at your own pace, um, just watch this episode, watch this thing. Okay, here's some things you can do. All right, now this is session 1, session 2, even if it's like a 8-session thing, something like that. If we could find something like that, that we would obviously want it to be free, so it could be accessible to everyone, that we could then just say, hey, look what we found, and boom.
Yes.
That was definitely something we can do
That's
some research.
that's kind of what I was picturing, because I understand that there's a limited period of time that they can be in school and they're already having their classes. But I think something electronic that they can, and maybe in their own time or in downtime, they can go through it and gain that information from parents. Because I feel like we as parents can tell them things, and sometimes it just doesn't get through us as good as we wish it should. So just an additional,
Yeah.
that it's more positive and engaging, hopefully.
Yeah, and something I would hope that if we would look for that and find something, that it would be something you could sit down as a parent and do with your student, so that they know that you know, and you know that they know, and everybody's on the same page. And so if there is a bad choice made, you'd be like, oh, come on, buddy, we went over this. And then, you use that as a teaching moment, and not a, oh my gosh, what are you thinking kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's
And then I've
definitely,
also-
I will make sure after our meeting here, we'll talk about that and see if we can find something in it. And because we would want everybody to have that, not just, 6th graders. And there's more and more stuff out there, and unfortunately it's changing every day.
Yeah.
The information. So it's kind of hard to sometimes nail that down, but it's a great idea. And I personally will
Thank you
work
for
on
that.
that and see if we can find something for you.
I've put into the chat a couple of links. We've done 2 sessions that were recorded, and I put the links in the chat. One is on raising cyber smart kids. And it's exactly what it sounds like. And the other one is just on overall digital well-being. So we have those 2 that are up and available now. Serna, if you don't mind me asking, what middle school is your child going to next year?
She's gonna go to Loma Vista.
Loma Vista. Okay, so at Loma Vista has a community schools coordinator. Her name is Mrs. Alfaro, Miss Lena Alfaro. And what our community schools coordinators do is they respond to these sort of needs. So when you start middle school, when your child starts middle school next year, reach out to Miss Alfaro, and she can coordinate these sort of classes at Loma Vista, either in person or via Zoom. But that's going to be something that is exactly within her roles, and she is dynamic. You're going to love her. So specifically to respond to this need, and then any other questions that you might have. So beautiful. Thank you for that. And then we also received a question in the chat regarding busing. I can't really speak to, because there's a question that says, what are some of the district considerations when deciding no student transportation? What I can do is I can, in just a second, put into the chat the phone number for the transportation department, who they might be able to give you more clarity on that, because I just don't know. That's not
Well,
my.
unfortunately, there isn't busing to the middle schools. We understand there's a lot of families that live far, and it's hard for families to bring students to school. Unfortunately, like I said, there isn't any busing unless your child is on an IEP and gets picked up and has door-to-door transportation. Those students have transportation. We suggest.
I'm sorry, I just put into the chat the transportation department's phone number. If you'd like to reach out for some more information there, because as we said, we're not part of those conversations. But
Well,
yeah.
we suggest, buddying up with a neighbor, with another parent. Maybe, they can take your child to school for a week, and then you can take the children to school for another week. We do have after school prime time where the kids stay a little bit later. And that is very helpful for parents who don't get off of work until 4 or 5, and the kids can stay there. It's a safe place. They can they get an afternoon snack, they get homework help, and then there's different clubs there as well. So they could stay there until you can pick them up.
It is 5 minutes till 6. In the interest of time, would you like me to continue playing this video
Yes.
or?
Yes, this is a really good video on how to navigate Aries, parents. This will show you how to see your students' grades. Go ahead, Mr. Cisneros.
To view your child's grades, go to the Alvord Unified School District website. From there, you can hover over the parent sign-in, click on Aries Parent Portal. That'll direct you to this website. Put in your email address. If you haven't created an account, you can click right here and create a new account. After you've entered the email address, hit next, put in your password, sign in, and then you will be able to see your child's grades. So here we have their class periods, their classes, their teachers, room number, and then if you click on their grade book, you can see every assignment that they've been given. You can see their grades, and you can see their missing assignments, and you can see their attendance for the past 5 days. So if you were to click on, let's say, science, you will see all the assignments that the teacher has posted. You can see the description of the assignment, their score, the number they got correct, and their percentage. If you scroll down, you'll see how the teacher has weighted their grades. So 35% of their grade is based on classwork, 40% is based on assessments, and 25% on participation. So each teacher is a little different. So you just want to scroll down to each grade book so that you can see how the teacher covers their grades. Okay, and then if you go back, if your student has any missing assignments, you can click on that class. Anything that is in red is missing. Here you'll see the teacher's email addresses where you'll be able to email them if you have any questions. And this is how you view your child's grades. To view.
Okay, wonderful. So we also have extended learning opportunity. These are clubs that each school has. They're just different clubs. So we have an art club, a Lego club, there's sports, there's soccer, volleyball, flag football, basketball. There's a whole agenda for when those sports are being offered. Your students will need physicals. So if you think your student wants to play a sport, get them to your medical provider and get a physical for them, because you want to have that to be able to upload it so that they can play any type of sport, or you can sign them up for any kind of club. And the club email or web address is www.sixcrickets.com. When you get there, you pick your child's school, you create an account, pick your child's school, and then you can see all the clubs that are being offered, and then you can sign up your student for that club. And they're offered different days during the week, never on Tuesday, but on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
So if you've signed anybody, any of your students up like this year or last year, this year is really, they went heavy into the Six Crickets. So it's not anything different. So if you did something this year of an after school activity in elementary school, it's going to be just the same. Just make sure you're clicking on the correct school when you're looking up those activities, because you click on the wrong middle school, you could probably still sign up, but then when your student goes to do that activity, it might not be there. And you can only do the activities at your school. You can't be like going to Wells and say, oh, I want to do the activity at Villegas. It's got to be at your school, because there is no getting back and forth.
So schools start in August, but I think the club started in September.
Yeah,
and then the sports started pretty soon right after.
They give them a little time to get things rolling first. And they can change from year to year as well. There might be a club that happened this year that might not happen next year based on the teacher organization. I guess our last two little slides here. Tips for success. make sure you and your student, or importantly, your student is organized. That's going to be the big thing. Organization. Planners have what they need in their backpacks. Their Chromebook is charged every night if they're taking it home, to be using at home for their homework. And if they don't have that planner, it doesn't have to be these giant trapper keeper things with all kinds of little pockets and doodads, because again, that's going to weigh them down, but just something where they can write those assignments down. But even if they forget, it's going to be online, because you saw
Your
the
teachers
series.
will let you know the first day of school, like what necessary supplies they need to have.
Mr. Roz,
Yes.
you have been corrected. Miss
have.
Bryn. Yeah, Bryn says actually, Six Cricket only allows you to sign up at the school your student is registered for. So I guess maybe they've put in
Yes.
some guardrails there.
Oh,
so that-
okay.
Yeah, it's
So-
beautiful. Thank you, Bryn, for that.
That's
Thank you.
good, so that you can't make a mistake. Because
Yeah.
I know when I was going on it, I was able to see other schools as a teacher. So I'm like, ooh, this could be bad. Because if someone signs up for the wrong thing, so that hopefully maybe.
Yeah, it's different for instructors. We get to see a little bit more.
Oh,
But
okay.
you
that's
students
okay.
can only sign up at your school, and you'll see what is being offered at your school.
Okay, because when they did it this year, I had some parents saying, I can't find it at the school, and they were on a totally different school. So that got fixed. Good. That's awesome. Thank you. So as we wrap up here, just remember that responsibility in middle school is going to be a big, big topic, and it's going to be a shift. The more responsibility as your student is getting to 6th grade and 7th grade, 8th grade, and high school is going to be shifted to them. They're going to get more independence, and that more independence means that they're going to have less people kind of hovering around them all the time. We're still here, but they're going to have to do things a little bit more on their own and be planning. They're going to want later bedtimes at home, but they still need about 8.5 to 9 hours of sleep. In middle school, high school students, they're getting a little bit older. They need a little bit less. But if they say, Mom, I can stay up until 1 o'clock and I'm fine with waking up at 6, no, that
Don't
is
let them.
not enough for them to re-energize, recharge. They're going to be zombies the next day for their first 3 periods of class, and fixing that by having a energy drink or a coffee in the morning is not good for their growing and developing bodies or their brain. That chemical dependence is not beneficial. It's not even good for us adults, but we don't want to have
No,
that.
it's not.
crutch.
Not those Starbucks sugary drinks in the morning. Those are not good. Kids need good breakfast in the morning. We do serve food at school, but kids need protein. They need carbs, the right fats. They need good home cooked meals. So if you can cook for your child at home, that's absolute very best. You are able to send your student with snacks if you want to. Just make them healthy.
Not the sleeve of Oreo cookies
Yeah, or Takis.
or the giant family size bag of Takis.
Yeah,
So technically, they're not allowed on school because we're healthy campuses. So, and I
we
see
have
that
them.
all the time.
We have them in middle school. So
Yeah.
all we can do is try our best. Whenever you need help, please reach out to the teachers, the counselors, the admin. We're all in this together. We support one another. If I don't have the answer to your question, I'm going to find somebody who does.
And keep that communication open with your child. The more you try to communicate with them, or the more you keep that dialogue open, the more likely they're going to be to want to communicate with you when they really, really need it and they need your help. But just keep that open, because that's also a very important thing.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
families, for joining us.
And
Thank
with
you.
that, were there any last questions or comments before we sign off? Did we see anything in the chat or anybody pop up?
No, but I'm just well, we have a kudos. We have a thank you from Grace Garcia.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Mr. Roz. Thank you, Miss Rachel, for this fantastic and as you saw, really kind of really dynamic presentation. We were able to get some dialogue in with family, so it wasn't just us kind of talking at you all for an hour. Thank you for that. That makes our experience a lot more fruitful, more relevant as well, more enjoyable. And we also can't ever end these sessions without saying thank you to the hardest working people in the room. Thank you, Patti, our Spanish interpreter, and thank you, Bayana, our interpreter in Arabic.